Alright guys, back to another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, Trials and Tribulations. Last time was a pretty epic episode, actually, where we figured out the truth behind Dahlia's actions and what really happened, and now that Dahlia's finally gone forever, you got Maya back, but problem is, I think we figured out who probably is the killer. But this will all depend on our testimony. No. On what Maya saw. And this will all depend on if we know the answer. So, and it's up to us to figure this out. So, anyway, let's get started, shall we? Now then, before we proceed any further, I'm going to announce the results of the test we had performed earlier. Tests? Yes, tests on the bloody dagger that was found stuck in the pine tree. Oh yeah, that! I totally forgot about it. Oh yeah, about that. So this was the real murder. That's the weapon that Maya Fey used when she fought with the victim. Well, we already established that Maya Fey didn't use the weapon. So what are results? Was it the victim's blood or... Due to time constraints, a full test wasn't possible. However, there's one thing we can say with certainty. The blood that was on this dagger was not the victim's blood. Huh? That is all. Now then, let's restart this trial. So it wasn't Misty's blood on the dagger? Then whose was it? Okay. I'm sure that both the defense and prosecution know this, but this trial is rapidly coming to a close. Both sides will need to show some firm evidence with their firm claims. I understand, Your Honor. From what I've heard, the witness is dangerously weak, physically speaking. So let's finish this quickly. Agreed. Very well, please bring in the last witness. Maya, after what she went through, witness, please tell us your name and profession. Maya Fey. My profession is, I'm the assistant manager at Wright & Co. Law Offices. Maya. According to the magazine I have here, you're a spirit medium with the Korean channeling technique. I'm frightened. The Fey clan. I don't want any more to do with it anymore. Oh, Maya. The pain the Fey bloodline causes must be unbearable. Very well. Now then, Miss Fey. When the event occurred, you were in the garden of the inner temple. And you witnessed the moment Miss Elise Lim's murder. Is this correct? I didn't see anything. Straighten up this instant, young lady. Huh? Pick your head up and speak clearly, huh? There's always time for crying later. Maya knows who it is, but she's too scared to say. But Your mother was killed right in front of your very eyes. There's nothing you can do to change that fact. But there's something you can do. You can finish this. You've been watching the whole thing, right? You've seen the witnesses come out, and you've seen us squeeze the truth out of them. Okay, my mic is fucking back to normal. Holy shit, I gotta stop that. On the night of the crime. On the night of the crime? What exactly did you see happen? Witness, if you please. Yes, Your Honor. Alright then. A bunch of witness testimonies, huh? I was passing through the garden on the way to a spare prep room when it happened. Suddenly, someone struck me over the head. I stumbled and ended up against a stone lantern. I screamed, "Help me!" And then something warm splashed over me. That's when I lost consciousness. So you were struck on the head? I suppose this must have been the staff. Maya, the person who hit you. It was Dahlia Hawthorne, wasn't it? I'm sorry, Nick. I couldn't see. I don't know who it was. Maya, think very hard. Nick, sorry, Nick, but I really couldn't. Huh. Can't say it was a especially good night for young ladies to be walking around alone. Seems that it will be very hard to determine the criminal through testimony alone. Very well then, Mr. Wright. Please begin your cross-examination. Maya, hang in there. She doesn't look well at all. Well, we still gotta press everything regardless, so... Who was also on the inner temple side that night? Well, Sister Bikini, of course. But remember her saying that Iris will be coming later as well. On the day after the incident, Edriff met Bikini at Hazakura Temple. That means she couldn't be the criminal. So then, did Iris actually come later like she said? Well, let me think. She seems very confused. It's probably because she's so tired. No, I'm sure I didn't see her. She must have come while I was preparing for the training. Who did it? Who hit you? Well, calm yourself, Phoenix, Wright? I didn't see who it was. I was hit from behind. You didn't see the person? But after that, your attacker was in front of you. How could you not see who it was? Oh, let me think for a second. I'm sorry. I just can't remember. Maya's really having a hard time. What should I do? Considering the conditions at the crime scene, it's not surprising she didn't see her attacker. Huh. So it looks like even you've got some compassion. Judging by the testimony so far, the identity of the attacker most likely the spirit that was channeled by Elise Dukes named Dahlia Hawthorne. Very well, please continue with your testimony. What happened after you were struck on the head? What happened afterwards? My attacker was in front of me, blocking off my escape, I think. You think? Getting hit like that, I was in a state of panic. There are only two things rolling around in my mind at the time. Well now, this is beginning to get interesting. So what were the two things rolling around in your mind? My name is Maya Fey. 1 + 1 = 2. You see, for some crazy reason, I was afraid to lose my memory. I know it's odd considering my life was in danger, but that's just how it was. That's not odd at all. Your actions are understandable given the circumstances. So what did you do then? I think I screamed, "Help me!" Think you screamed, but you're not sure? Listen, I was in a complete wreck. It was dark. I couldn't see my attacker. Was it a man, a woman, an adult, a child? I had no idea. I was scared out of my wits. Believe me, my dear, I'm certain I would have soiled my robes. I thought this person might attack me, so I... Anyway, I'm pretty sure I screamed and thought that was my last hope. Wow. It sounds like poor little Maya was really out of her mind. I wonder what she meant by last hope. What do? Press her for more details? Wait a minute. Maya, what's this my last hope stuff? Nani? What do you mean by your last hope? No. That's what you said. You said my last hope. Huh? Nani? I said what? You really don't remember what the things you say, do you? Look, you were facing an attacker that you couldn't see and you screamed, right? So you screamed, "Help me." Yeah. But you testified that you screamed because you thought it was your last hope. Oh, well, you know. That's just like, what do you call when that happens? Maya's not doing so well up there. Oh yeah, Oh yeah, that's right. I remember now. I was facing my attacker, but that's not who I was screaming at. Huh? Huh? This is new. What did you just say? Yeah, that's right. It was the person behind my attacker that I was yelling at. That's who I was screaming to for help. Ah! Oh, slip up. Slip up. What was it now? I messed up. I didn't mean to let that Oh, we tricked her. Huh? I guess we figured out there was actually someone behind. The witness! Are you absolutely sure about what you're saying? Behind the attacker, there was another person? I am, well, I meant to keep that part a secret. Oops. What have I done? Huh. It takes a ton of pressure to make a diamond. That's what I always say. A ton of pressure, huh? You're in a court of law here. You can't make things up or try to hide things in this chamber. Witness, the information you presented is vital to the case. I want you to add it to your testimony. I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern. Man? Who was this man? Well, you see, I couldn't see. You couldn't see? She used this excuse twice now. Well, you know, lantern light isn't very bright. Lantern light, did you say? That's a great big stone lantern in the garden. They always light it when the acolyte is there for training. Hey, you know what they say. Under the lantern, darkness reigns. So I could see the person that was further away, but not my attacker, but who was closer. Plus, there weren't any other light sources in the garden at the time. Warm. You don't mean, was it? I didn't know at the time, but I think it was probably blood. She's saying that when this Dukesum, who was channeling Dahlia, was stabbed in the back by the killer? At that moment, I was paralyzed with fear. I was just sitting there in the snow. After blood got everything around me. That's when I lost consciousness. So what happened next? I don't remember. How were you saved? You don't even remember that? No. I haven't gotten any idea. I really don't know what happened at all. That's too bad. I've worked side by side with Maya for 2 years now. I can tell when she's trying to hide something by how she acts. And right now, I'm absolutely certain she's hiding something. We're gonna have to, like, press on that other thing, unfortunately. I don't like it, but I have to. We're gonna have to press her. Come on, Maya. This isn't making sense. Why didn't you see this person? Well, let me think. It was, oh yeah, that's right. It was dark, that's it. It was dark. It's not good to have too much light around when someone's undergoing spiritual training. Come to think of it, there was earlier testimony to that effect as well. Still was dark in the garden the night of the crime, which is why she didn't see her attacker. I thought that maybe she was trying to hide something, but I guess not. Judging by the testimony thus far, the identity of the attacker is most likely. The spirit that was channeled by Lee Suxim, blah blah blah, Dahlia Hawthorne. What do I do in this situation? What do I even present? The problem is, the blood does not match the victim. Maybe the dagger. I'm trying to think right now, because we are low at life points. I could see a man behind my attacker by the light of the stone lantern. Let me see the stone lantern. Lantern? Oh! Wait, it was not lit the whole time. Okay. That's a flaw. So there was a man standing behind your attacker? Yeah. Well, that man, he's the killer. He stabbed her from behind. And he's the one who killed Elise Duxnem. Otherwise known as MIsty Fey, your mother. The killer. Maya. You know who killed your mother, don't you? Yeah. It was come down to this. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright? To be frank, Your Honor, I think she is in shock and quite confused. That's why she hasn't noticed the huge problem with her testimony. Huh? What do you mean? What problem? Maya. On the night of the crime, that stone lantern was out of commission. Huh? Nani? It's true. There was no light anywhere in the garden that night. Oh no! Order in the court, Mr. Godot. Please explain this. Add the parent's pureness of milk to the perfect clear darkness of coffee. Stir. That is the state of the witness's mind right now. A cup of café laoul. Café au lait? Is that even legal? Mr. Trite's words are the milk and you are the spoon. Your Honor. I'm a spoon. I'm no spoony bard, but I'll have you know. You must have noticed it too, Trite. This witness's mental state is highly unstable right now. And it's not hard to understand why she would make a little mistake like that. I'm sorry, but that's not going to cut it. What did you just say? If there truly was no light in the garden, then there's a fatal contradiction in the witness's last bit of testimony. Nick, may I? Recall the witness's statement about her attacker. She said she didn't know if it was a man or woman or an adult or a child. And yet, the witness could describe a person that was standing behind her attacker. And she quite clearly described him as a man. Huh. In other words, that would mean Maya actually saw our mystery person, despite it being so dark that she couldn't see the face of her own attacker. No! Order! What in the world does this mean, Mr. Wright? Are you saying Miss Fey saw the real killer under pitch black conditions? Objection! I object. Trite, do you have any idea what you're proposing? How could she have seen the dark? There's no other light source at the scene. Objection! There are some things you can only see in the dark, Mr. Godot. Maya, you did see who the killer was in the dark, and now you're trying to cover for him. Cover for the man that killed our mother? There's only one conclusion I can draw from this. You know who this man is. Please, Nick, I don't know anything. Please, I'm begging you. Huh. You talk a good game, Trite, but let's see if you can walk the walk. It was pitch black, so what could the witness see? I'm calling your bluff. No, Nick, please don't. Please, stop. I know who it is. Maya's dead set on protecting this guy. The man who murdered Maya's long-lost mother. But I can't let him get away with it. I'm a lawyer. I'm an officer of the court. I'm here to find the truth. Alright then, Mr. Wright. Time to show us what you've got. Who was this person that you say Miss Fey saw in the darkness? There's only one person that was there. That they were stuck on the other side of the bridge until like for a full day. And I have a feeling the only person, man, that actually makes sense here is Godot. You are the killer. Because it was pitch black, Miss Fey was able to recognize the killer so easily. I'm sure the court would like to see for itself how this is possible, yes? Nani? But how did you propose to show us something like that? It's very easy. We just need to create the conditions of that night. Conditions? Your Honor, defense officially requests that all the lights in this courtroom be turned off. His visor is the light. What? It can't be. Huh. Red visor. That was a nice bit of deduction. Try it. The red visor. Well, everyone, that's the only bit of light I saw. That she saw. This is the man Maya saw on the night of the murder. Order, order, order! Prosecutor Godot, what is the meaning of this? Sure, you must be shocked for hearing yourself accused of such a thing. Why aren't you denying it? Huh. Your Honor, you're asking the wrong person. Wait, what do you mean by that? If you got a question, you ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Well, Maya, how about it? What you saw that night? Was it 3 glowing red lights? Well, witness, answer the question. You're wrong. I never saw that. Still gonna deny it, huh? Maya, I thought that person was stabbed. My mother was a man for a totally different reason. Nani? Witness, Mr. Wright, what the? Stop your chattering, Your Honor. Chattering? If it's worth asking, ask the witness. That's one of my rules. Alright then. Well then, let's continue with the testimony. Please tell us how you knew the killer was a man. Yes, Your Honor. I didn't realize it until after I woke up, but... Alright then. When I came to, I was just lying there on the training hall floor. By the time I got back to the garden, the place had totally changed. The torches were lit and the body was gone. And all of the snow around the lantern had been carefully cleaned up too. Since the person did all that work alone, I assume it was a man. That is, not a good testimony, but, So it was after the crime took place that the witness came to think the killer was a man. Yes, that's right. I'm sorry, Your Honor. No need to apologize, as Mr. Gassil said. You're utterly exhausted. Oh my god. This is gonna be harsh as we go further into this. It's only natural that you be a little confused. Huh. Also, if you consider the situation you described, it doesn't seem to be too much of a stretch to assume the culprit is a man. Alright, Mr. Wright. Proceed with your cross-examination. Okay. So, you lost consciousness when you were in the garden, is that right? Yes, I think it happened when the victim was stabbed. So the person that carried you into the inner temple, it could only have been the killer. That's what I think too. So the killer carried Maya into the inner temple. Naturally, the killer must have done it, right? Yes, I think so. But why would the killer tamper with the crime scene like that? There must have been something that the killer desperately wanted to hide. I don't know. Looks like she doesn't have enough confidence. I think I need to gather some more information before I ask her again. Torches were lit. That's how I noticed when the whole scene had changed. I'm going to say it was the killer who lit the torches. I mean, who else could it be? Killer probably lit them since it'd be impossible to do any cover-up work in the dark. However, that's true. There's one thing that still bothers me. Why did the killer go through all the effort moving the body? That's true. It's hard to see how that would be any advantage to the killer. Only one who would gain anything for that would be the only person that was in the inner temple, Maya. Well, let me hear more information about the condition of the crime scene. Just trying to think right now. So you're seeing the killer clean up the snow. It did look really odd. There was like a bunch of the snow removed in an unnatural looking rectangle shape around the lantern. There were a lot of shovels around in the inner temple, but they're all really heavy. They're way too heavy for me to use. An odd fellow indeed, this killer. Why on earth would anyone want to take snow away? Well, there is one thing I can think of. Didn't you see a lot of the victim's blood is sprayed into the snow? Yeah. The area I collapsed in ended up being splattered. In other words, the killer's purpose was to hide the bloody snow. I think that's the most reasonable explanation. Perhaps. However, there's something that's still bothering me. If the killer just wanted to hide the snow with the blood on it, there was no need to remove that amount. That's true. He could have scooped up just the snow that was stained with blood. It looks like there are some mysteries behind this issue. But I think this will help explain them. I think this has something to do with the fact that he couldn't see the dying message on the lantern. Since the person did all that work alone, I just assumed it was a man. So you're saying that you never saw the killer, right? Yes. For earlier, you clearly stated that you saw a man behind your attacker. Nick, I'm sorry. The killer certainly went through a lot of trouble. Moving the body by pendulum, manipulating the crime scene? But for what purpose? Why do all that? Maybe Maya knows more than she's letting on. Truth is, when I saw the crime scene, I felt something. You did? Here we go. Yes, I felt like the killer was hiding the evidence for me, for my sake. Nani, hiding it for you? Everyone knew I was the only one at the inner temple that night. If Sister Bikini had come look back at the garden, she may have thought that you had done it. No, she definitely would have thought so. And you're saying that's why the killer cleaned up the crime scene to make it look like nothing had happened? Yes, I'm very sure of it. Well, that's certainly an important piece of information. I want you to add that to your testimony. So you have to press first for every statement before you can add that. I think for my sake, that the killer clean up of evidence what had happened. He did it for your sake? Well, if the body and the blood hadn't been removed, I would have immediately been the prime suspect, right? I suppose that's true. Yeah, and if that happened, the body would have caused some other problems, too. If the real identity had come out right then, it would have been terrible. Master of the Crane Village, killed by her own daughter. I don't think Maya would have been able to handle that. But still, it's rather difficult to fathom the killer's motives. What reason did he go through that much trouble to protect you? I think it's because he didn't want Dahlia Hawthorne to win. Let me save. I think this is very vital right now. No. I think it's the stone lantern. Yeah, because it had blood on it. He couldn't clean up the crime scene very well. The body of Elise Dukeson was carried all the way to Hazakura Temple's courtyard. Then at the garden, the real scene of the crime. The snow that we suspect was covered in blood was scooped up and removed. It's reasonable to believe that all this was done in an attempt to hide the true crime scene. However, There's still one matter that seems quite odd. Oh, what would that be? You must have figured it out by now, Mr. Godot. It's the message written in blood on the lantern. It was written very clearly on the white stone lantern. Maya. Huh. If the killer was so motivated to protect Maya from suspicion, then why didn't they wipe up the writing off the lantern? Oh, you're right. He couldn't see. I remember that part. Order, but Mr. Wright, isn't it a fact that the killer was trying to cover up the crime scene? Indeed, but it doesn't make much sense to move the body and remove the bloody snow. Did not wipe off the most incriminating thing of all, the bloody writing. But if that's the case, do you have any explanation for the killer's mysterious behavior? Why would this killer move the body, remove all that snow, and then leave the bloody writing on the lantern? I don't know what the killer's plan was, but it's a fact that the killer left the writing on the lantern. There must be a reason for it. Well then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your opinion. Why did the killer leave the message written in the blood on the lantern? The killer didn't notice it. Prosecutor Godot, earlier in this trial, you gave me some good advice. Once you eliminate the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. Maybe you're not as dumb as I thought. The real killer wanted to disguise the fact that a crime had occurred there. If that's the case, they wouldn't have left the bloody writing on the stone lantern on purpose. Therefore, it must have meant that they didn't notice it. But that doesn't make any sense. The torches were lit and everything. There's no way any normal person would miss something as glaring as that. You're right. There's no way any normal person would. Nani, what are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? There's only one person involved in this incident who could have missed seeing the bloody writing altogether. And who would that be? This was proven in the trial. Who was the person that could have failed to notice the bloody writing? Godot. Mr. Godot, this is what you said yesterday. My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles, I still can't see everything. You can't see everything? Is that correct, Mr. Godot? This lantern was submitted as evidence today, as I like the court to think back at the moment it was first presented. This lantern, there's something written on it. It's written in blood. Yeah, he didn't notice. Godot didn't notice. I remember that specifically. Mr. Godot, just admit it. There are certain colors you can't see, correct? You can't see red on a white background, can't you? And that's right. We went through this once before. During the poisoning case at Trespienne. Oh yeah. He didn't see blood on the apron. Yeah, that part, the blood stain. Yeah, that was kind of off, honestly. You could see the coffee on the white apron, but you couldn't see the ketchup because it was red. Huh. It's strange. In a black and white photo, these photos would have been appeared black to me. I wonder, why am I the only one that can't see them? So then, Mr. Godot, are you admitting to it? Are you admitting that you can't see the red writing on the lantern? Hey, Gramps, didn't you know? That's the reason I don't drink red tea. Uh-oh. I wasn't sure about it until now, but I just can't believe it. Prosecutor Godot is the murderer, but there's no going back now. I finally figured out— Shut up, crowd! Figure out the truth. Mr. Godot, the defense is at this time formally accuses you. You are the murderer of Miss Elise Duxnim, also known as MIsty Fey. It's hard to believe that this may be true, but however, once again, Mr. Wright has brought up a disquieting fact about you. Huh. Just make sure you don't fill out the indictment in red ink, Gramps. Come on, how does a little graffiti make me into the killer? Besides, it's not like my name is... It's not like it's my name written there. I'm certain that the killer wasn't able to see the color red. This is rich to go on, Trite. The answer is right there at the crime scene. In the snow. The snow? How so? Well, for example, why did the killer move all that snow? Your Honor, you said it yourself. If he wanted to hide the bloody snow, why not just take out just that area? Yes, why didn't he just take that area? Oh, could it be? Yes, the killer couldn't see the red blood that had been seeping into the snow, so he had to remove all the snow. He couldn't be sure where the blood had landed, so he removed the whole area.
Objection.
Isn't this more likely that the killer couldn't see the blood because it was dark? Not a chance. The torches were all lit. He would have been able to see just fine. It seems that once again, this trial has taken an unexpected turn, to say the least. Can you explain this, Mr. Godot? Dun dun dun. Hold it. Wait just a minute. Maya? What is it, witness? Mr. Godot, isn't the killer? After all, he didn't even come to the inner temple. Until 2 days after the murder took place. He didn't show up at the old bridge after that old bridge got fixed up. Maya, you can't testify to something like that. Why? What do you mean? I may not look it, but I'm... Huh? After the murder happened, you didn't even exist. Oh, she didn't. I don't afraid I'm a follow. Oh, you see now, old man, we established this just a little while ago. After the murder, this witness was unconscious for a very long time. Because she was channeling Dahlia Hawthorne. Oh, that's right. But please, Your Honor, let me add to my testimony. Nick, please listen to me. Maya. Do you plan to cover up Godot no matter what the cost? If that's the case, then I've got no choice. Your Honor, let's hear her testimony then. It means we're going to hear the whole truth. I'd say we should not silence her. Huh. Nicely done, Trite. Very well, let's hear the witness's testimony. Please tell us what happened at the inner temple after the murder. Yes, sir. After I woke up, I began channeling, and my spirit left me, as it were. But little Pearly was there at the inner temple, too. Pearly? First, Pearly was also stuck in the inner temple side that night. That is true. She was stuck there. The next morning, she looked around, but she couldn't find anyone. The next day, when the bridge was finally fixed, she was in the spare prep room. That's when Mr. Godot arrived at the inner temple for the first time. He found Pearly first and then cheered her right up. So, who is this Pearly? That's my little cousin, Pearl Fey. So when did you hear about this? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, just a while ago. When I was in the medical office. I'm terribly sorry. Though that when you heard from someone else is simply not admissible as a testimony. Nani? Come on! Pearly would never tell a lie. She's way more honest a person than I'll ever be. Real smart, Maya. You always know the best things when you're under oath. Huh. The prosecution has no objection. We believe the witness, Mr. Godot. Let's just move on to the cross-examination. If the defense has no objections. This is highly unusual, but... Well, Mr. Wright? Let's just get this cross-examination started, then. Alright, let's go, then. We got a few, testimonies. So where did you think Pearl slept that night? The spare prep room next to the training hall, I guess. There's a rule that you can't enter the training hall during the Acolyte's training. Even so, why did she go to the inner temple in the first place? It seems Pearls became very worried about Maya. She knew that the spiritual training I was about to undergo was very intense. Pearls was supposed to channel Dahlia Hawthorne, but she couldn't do it. That's why she headed to the inner temple. However, Dahlia Hawthorne was already there, possessing the body of Elise Duxnim. She searched the entire inner temple side end to end. Well, you see, Riley gets pretty scared when she's all alone, and there weren't many places to look. She says that even she went back and forth several times. The inner temple side has two structures, the training hall and the spare prep room. And there's also a storage shack, I think. That's about it. There's a storage shack, too? Pearls was looking for other people, right? Would she really examine a storage shack all that carefully? Well, if it was me, I thought I would be in the first place to investigate. You know what? That sounds about right. So it means it's possible that someone may have been hiding in the storage shack. The Pearls didn't hear the sound of them working on the bridge? What do you mean? I was just wondering why she would stay in the prep room. If it was me, I would at least go wait out and wait at the foot of the bridge. Oh, well, Pearlie said she was sleeping at the time. She said she was so scared during the night that she couldn't sleep well and woke up a bunch of times. Poor little girl, all alone like that. Well, we know that she had at least one friend in the sacred cavern, Dahlia Hawthorne, who was busy battling the trick lock. She couldn't let anyone see her, and she wouldn't let herself show herself to Pearls. What happened after the bridge was finally fixed? So it was your first time on the inner temple side, Mr. Goodell? That's funny. Am I imagining things, or did the defense ask me a question? Mr. Wright, please save your questions for the witness. When you heard from someone else, it's not simply admissible as testimony. Those are your words, Your Honor. Touché, Mr. Wright. Oh well, what do you have to say, Mr. Godot? Hot nights and even hotter coffee. That's what I always say. If it hadn't been for this case, I never would have visited there. A freezing cold temple in the mountains. I think I'll pass. So he had never chanced to visit the Hazakura temple. Or the inner temple, huh? Huh. You want to say something, Trite? In any case, I might have to find a crack in Godot's armor. While I cross-examine Maya, that is. Very well, please go on with your testimony. After fixing a bridge, the policeman came over to the inner temple side, right? Yes, then, Mr. Godot. He found Pearlie first and cheered her right up. He cheered her right up? That's what Pearlie said, but she said she was a very nice older gentleman. Thank you for looking after my cousin, Mr. Godot. And here I was thinking you were nothing more than a coffee addict. Huh. Cut it out. You're making me blush. This guy really is the beginning to getting on my nerves in way more ways than none. The truth is there. Aren't there many places to look on the inner temple side? The policemen were all busy going over the garden with fine-toothed combs. So I decided to carry out an investigation in my own way, Godot style. I'm the same way. I like to hand out verdicts my own way, judge style. Maybe I should ask some questions about Phoenix style. So you cheered Pearls up? When I found that little girl, the first thing she asked about was her cousin, Maya Fey. Really? The bridge had burned down and she was huddled up in that tiny shack with no heat, even though she must have had a terrifying night out there. She asked about you before she said a thing about herself. Pearlie. I noticed that you weren't anywhere on the inner temple side, but I couldn't find me to tell her that, so I gave her my last cup. With milk and sugar, to hide the bitterness of the harsh truth. What a sweet stories! Had a thermos of coffee? Why does that surprise me? There's only one thing of importance here. Where was Mr. Godot when the murder was taking place? He must have been already at the inner temple when it happened. Otherwise, he couldn't have killed Elise Duxnim. I might have to save just in case. What's that other statement? Godot's investigation. You said that you conduct an investigation of your own. Did you find anything? It looks like my investigation went about as well as yours, Mr. Trite. After all, I did miss the bloody writing on the lantern. Well, I didn't miss it, so speak for yourself, Goggles. The only odd thing is I discovered was the beauty in the training hall. Beauty? MIsty Fey, naturally. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb, surrounded by the hue, an aroma of Western taste. Western taste? Could he find a stranger way to describe gravy? From there, you headed towards the prep room. Wait a second, what did Godot just say now? I think I just found his probably real weak point. There's one thing of any importance here. Where was Godot when the murder was taking place? He must have already been at the inner temple when it happened. I found his weak point! I think we found the weak point. Because there was gravy on the thing. Yeah, it must have been. Yeah, it must have been. It's obscured by gravy. Fuck! This witness's statement is clearly faulty, Your Honor. Fucking A. I'm sorry, but I can't see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I will have to penalize you, Mr. Wright. You must be on the wrong track. Fuck me, I'm literally refreshing. Yeah, that one. And the last statement. Mr. Godot, the first time you crossed Dusky Bridge and went to the inner temple was long before the murder took place. Why did you say that? Because she had just made one fatal slip-up. The hanging scroll in the training hall. Hanging scroll? But the Godot is right that the scroll shows a picture of my mother. Maya, I know you who it is, but here's something you didn't know. By the time the bridge had been repaired 2 days after the murder, the hanging scroll in the training hall looked like this. What is that wonderfully delicious smell? The morning after the crime, someone had covered it with gravy. Gravy? Why is... Wait, gravy, Nick? Because gravy was much more condiment than to the culprit. Well, Mr. Godot, if you really hadn't seen the hanging scroll until after the murder, you wouldn't have any way of knowing that it was MIsty Fey. Wait a minute, Nick. Yes? Take another look at the hanging scroll. Look at the top. There's a crest there. Ah, it's the mark of the master, correct? Exactly. So if you know the meaning of the mark, then you could guess there was a picture of MIsty Fey on there. No. True, but Mr. Scroll scribed underneath like this. Clad in her stunning Japanese garb surrounded by the hue and aroma of Western tastes. Oh. Yes, it's possible that he knew what the crest meant. However, he couldn't have known that she was wearing Japanese clothing. Mr. Godot, on the day of the murder, you were hiding at the inner temple long before the crime took place. Can I ask you just one thing, Trite? What is it? This whole theory of yours. It all rests on a certain assumption. That I knew beforehand that a crime was going to be committed. That's right. Otherwise, there's no reason for him to sneak onto the crime scene. Of course, Mr. Goodnow knew about the plan. Huh? What did you just say? Is it really possible that another person knew of the plan? Oh no. Is it the letter? Knew about the letter, did you? This crime was actually planned over a year ago. Morgan Fey authored a plan for their daughter's future. And these instructions were well hidden somewhere in the Fey Manor a year ago. However, by the time Little Pearls found these instructions, they had already been unsealed. So Godot unsealed them. Unsealed? Yes, the killer had read these instructions long before Pearls had ever found them. And that's how he knew the crime was to take place at the Inner Temple. And you still insist this crafty killer is me? You bet I do. But you just said that the instructions were hidden. That's right! So Godot couldn't have known where the instructions were hidden. If he really wanted to know, he had one great chance to find out. Yes, and what was that? During a visit. A visit? Morgan Fey once told her daughter, Pearl, where her instructions were hidden. During one of her visits to the detention center, that would be the only time for someone to have learned where they were hidden. Eavesdropping on a visit to the detention center. That's insane. Yes, it could only be arranged with someone with easy access in and out of there. Like, for example, a prosecutor such as Mr. Godot. Shit. Order! Mr. Godot, you're under fire again. This murder cannot be carried out without prior knowledge. And you were the only one that could have required this information before the murder. Game set, huh? It's all looking like to be him after all. Humans are afraid of the dark. And yet, at the same time, we're fascinated and bewitched by it. Maybe that's why humans drink the darkness that is coffee. Sorry for always asking, but what does that mean? Oh boy. It means there's a reason for everything. According to your theory, the killer in this case eavesdropped on a conversation during a jail visit where he learned of the hidden plan for a crime. And after discovering the plans, he hid in the Inner Temple wait for a crime to occur. Then he ultimately took a person's life. And he did all of that just to protect his witness? That's right. If you're accusing me of this crime, then I have to ask you, why would I do this? This girl's nothing but a stranger to me. I got no reason to go through that kind of trouble to protect her. There's only one person that would go through all the trouble. I am what you see, and I'm certainly not the type to rescue the damsel in distress. The killer's behavior is certainly extreme for a lack of a better word. Even considering that the killer wanted to protect this witness's life, his behavior is still a little too unnatural. However, you had a good reason, didn't you, Mr. Godot? An unshakable reason that forced you to protect this witness at all costs. I knew it. You figured it out, haven't you, Nick? Maya, I guess you were doing your best to cover for Godot. For the same reason, huh? There's only one person that you would want to do this for, no matter what. Okay, Triton, I'm all ears. Let's hear it. Very simple. Maya Fey is a lot more than just a stranger to you. What's this? There's one person who lies at the very center of the whole story. One person that ties you and Maya Fey together inextricably. This is gonna hurt me, man. Maya Fey as being related to Maya. There's a very good reason why Maya's life is so precious to you. After all, she is Maya Fey's only sister.
Maya Fey.
You once worked alongside her. That was when you were a defense attorney.
Wait a second here. Mr. Godot is a defense attorney?
With your honors-piercing intellect, you must have figured it out by now. The real name of this man who calls himself Godot. His real name is Diego Armando. Isn't that right? It is right. Yep.
Last time someone called me by that name was over 6 years ago. Diego Armando, that name rings a bell.
It should, Your Honor. All of this is related to a single case. Terry Falls. A case which a convict named Terry Falls killed himself. Maya Fey's first time in court, the tragic outcome left a deep wound in her heart. She knew that behind it all, it was heartless, scheming demonic in disguise. But in the end, Mia couldn't tear off that disguise. However, there was one man who reached out to help her. Diego Armando, a senior defense attorney at the office where Mia worked. It's yeah. Bringing back a flashback. As he crushes his coffee cup. That case meant a lot, obviously.
I was moved by her. The way she put all her faith in her clients. That pure sweetheart of hers. That's why I can never forgive Dahlia Hawthorne. Me and I thoroughly investigated that fake kidnapping incident. And then one fateful day, Dahlia wanted to meet with me. It had been 6 months since her trial. We met in the courthouse cafeteria.
That's when he poisoned you.
Oh, I just remembered. 6 years ago, right in this very courthouse, you were poisoned. Even I didn't see it coming. Dahlia Hawthorne slipped some poison onto my coffee. Some newspaper called it that time a murder, but very little information about the case was released to the press.
But you weren't dead at all.
No official reports have ever called it a murder. I was just in deep coma.
I see.
My body shut down and my life became nothing but a long, deep sleep. That woman's poison did a real number on my central nervous system. I lost my sight and all of my hair turned white due to the damage it caused.
That's terrible.
Apparently it was a miracle that I ever regained consciousness. Then 5 years has passed since I drank that poison brew. Then one morning my eyes flew open from the smell of a doctor's cup of coffee. Five years? You were asleep for 5 years! And the worst possible news was waiting for me. That Maya Fey was dead. From the very moment I opened my eyes, I had already lost everything that I thought I had. The woman I loved had been murdered, and the woman I loathed had been sentenced to death. The woman you loathed? The woman that had spiked my scalding hot coffee, Dahlia Hawthorne. Huh. Good old Mia. She didn't let me down. She got her revenge before she checked out. And in the end, there wasn't anyone waiting for me when I woke up.
That's so sad.
For someone like me, for someone who had slept away at their best days, there were only 2 reasons left to live. And it was for those 2 reasons that I decided to become a prosecutor.
Pepe hens. Man. If I may ask, what were your 2 reasons to live?
The first was you, Trite.
Huh? But me?
If I hadn't drank that stupid poison, Maya Fey would have never died, much less the way she did.
Ha.
You were the only one who was there to protect her. But you let her die. It was all your fault.
It wasn't like that.
I wanted to see for myself what kind of man you really were. So that's why you became a prosecutor. my other reason for living. She goes by the name Maya Fey.
Huh? You mean me?
You were the only way I can make up for the sin of not saving Mia. 1 year ago, when the Korean village incident was resolved, it was obvious that Morgan Fey was planning something. Whatever her evil plan was, it was so determined to stop it. Stupid devil eyes. My role as a prosecutor put me in the perfect position to do something about her.
That's how you overheard Pearl's visit with Morgan at the detention center.
I knew that the time was drawing near, and since I knew the plan, I thought I could foil it. My goal was to outwit the plan. I thought if I could do that, I could keep that girl from being caught up in it.
That makes a whole lot of sense. If Pearls had known that the actual purpose of the plan was to kill Maya, she never would have helped out.
Finally, the day of the plan was drawing near. I contacted both of my accomplices. Accomplices?
You mean...
Iris of Hazakura Temple and MIsty Fey.
So they were in on your plan, huh? I see.
I especially needed the help of Iris. She was to take the fall in my backup plan in case we couldn't control Pearl Fey.
But, how did you contact my mother?
She had...
You've been missing for almost 20 years.
Officially, yes.
Honey, what do you mean, officially?
You've heard about it, haven't you? Or about the strong ties between the main family and the government. Now that you
mention it, Bikini did say something to that effect. She said that the Master of the Crane had great authority.
Even without her official position, MIsty Fey still wielded great influence. The police have been keeping an eye on her movements all this time, and that's how I was able to contact her. And again, because of my position as a prosecutor.
So my mother was cooperating with you?
Don't ever forget, no matter how far away from you she was, she never stopped thinking about you.
She was always...
That's why I knew something. She would do anything to protect you. If you wanted to know her resolve was to protect you, was look at her staff. Her staff, the one with the sword in it. The day the plan was carried out, it arrived soon enough. We met for the first time at Hazakura Temple. That's when your mother showed me her special staff. I realized it then, just how far she was willing to go. She was ready to use that sword to protect you from Morgan Fey, if necessary. Yes, even if it meant paying the ultimate price.
Mother...
That night, the night of the crime, there was just one way of stopping Morgan's evil plan.
You mean Pearls, don't you?
We had to make sure she didn't channel Dahlia Hawthorne.
So Elise wanted to channel Dahlia Hawthorne in order to protect Maya, to make sure Pearls didn't get killed. Well, Pearl, what are you going to do tonight? Well, come to my room. Yeah.
We thought we could prevent her from playing her part in Morgan's plan, but she never showed up.
She was worried and followed me to the inner temple.
And that was the thing we were most afraid of. And that's why MIsty Fey had to do the channeling herself. She had channeled Dahlia Hawthorne into her own body. What? What do you mean?
She played the ultimatum by having to do that, just in case. If she channeled the spirit first, then Pearls wouldn't be able to do it herself. We won't let Pearls get hurt.
As a Master Korean, MIsty Fey's powers was supreme, so that's how it went down. She channeled Dahlia Hawthorne so that Pearl Fey wouldn't be able to. Nani? Is this true? My role in the plan was to make sure that no one was going to hurt Maya Fey. And that's right, I hid myself in the inner temple. And just in case you need to be safe from Dahlia Hawthorne,
Godot.
Anyway, that's all I'm going to admit to, Trite.
Huh?
There's no doubt about it. You're a great defense attorney, but you're gonna have to do the rest yourself. The background leading up to this incident had been laid bare. There's just one question remaining, Mr. Wright. Who killed the victim?
I don't want... This is gonna hurt me before it hurts anyone. No, 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 no. Oh my god.
There are only two possible suspects right now. Maya Fey. And I'm sad to say, you, Mr. Godot. Oh, Mr. Trite, if you're the real deal, then finish this thing once and for all. Show us beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can finish this on your own.
No, Nick, but please don't. Maya, I heard of the whole thing from my sister in the medical office. That's why I have to protect Mr. Godot. I can't do it. I can't testify against him. After all, he's the man who put his life on the line to protect Mia, and me too.
Maya,
I know that, but... Nick... But even so, it doesn't absolve him from his crime. Yeah. Please, Maya, testify.
Miss Fey, your testimony, please.
This is the final testimony. Don't bother trying to hide anything, because I'll know. I want to hear the truth from your own lips. I understand. I'm sure you're right. I'm ready now, Nick.
Alright then, young lady. Tell us your moments before you lost consciousness. What exactly happened at the time of the murder?